This year, President Biden initially hoped to highlight his achievements, as you heard from Blake, as it related to his economic achievements. The very same Washington Post ABC News polling shows why that's important. More than 6 in 10 Americans think President Biden has accomplished not very much or little to nothing during his presidency. With that, we bring in Chris Stirewalt, NewsNation political editor. What do you make of Blake's comments that he's not going to talk about China in the balloon?
Well, he's going to talk. He has to talk about it a little bit. He can't ignore it completely. He has to allude to it. There has to be something in there. We saw reporting today in a couple of different outlets that they'll have to put a little something in there. But he obviously doesn't want to make it the focus. He can't dwell on that because this is, you have to remember, the launch of a re-election campaign. This is the best stage. That building offers the best venue. You've been in that room and it's lit up for this. It is amazing. It's the best stage in politics. Yeah. And he needs to use this to highlight his achievements. And very importantly, remember who else is in that audience. Elizabeth Warren's out there. Bernie Sanders is out there. Democrats in his own party who might think about giving him a primary challenge. You pointed earlier to those weak numbers that Biden has, 31% in the Washington Post poll. Only 31% of Democrats want him to be the nominee next time. He's ripe for a primary challenge. He needs to show that he is strong, and he needs to show that he's delivering on principles that Democrats care about.
That said, in some ways, sort of none of the domestic policies matter if people don't feel as though the commander-in-chief is in charge, in control, has brought the country together and is protecting us, right? And to that point, last time around, last year, you and I were together. It was really sort of a pretty amazing moment when he talked about Ukraine and got enormous bipartisan support. There is enormous bipartisan support of one of the very few things in Congress to confront China. Is he missing an opportunity by not pivoting a little bit and going a little bit harder on China and trying to make this a cornerstone of even his reelection campaign?
Yeah, both parties are staunchly in favor of confronting China now, right? That's a reality of life today. He has to talk about it. He has to be the commander-in-chief. He has to do that. But as you saw in the reporting today about how the Pentagon acknowledges now that, it's probably happened before. Yeah, it's a little more complicated. And look, we know that the military doesn't tell us everything. Right. But certainly, it's easy to get the impression that we were not up to scratch on this one and that we weren't dealing with it the right way. So Biden cannot show that he's ducking it. He cannot show that he's weak, just even as he does not want to antagonize China. That, ironically for Biden, just a few days ago, he was hoping that this was the beginning of a détente and that they would have a better relationship.
Right. He was hoping that Antony Blinken was going to go over. He was going to be able to talk about how he sort of brought China to heel over the past couple of years, on and on and on. You make a great point, though, about perception versus reality. We watched the president walk off Marine One in his golf hat and sort of make this comment about, well, I told him to shoot it down when they thought it was appropriate. Does he risk, even if he is leaving it to the experts, as being seen as a commander-in-chief who was not in command during a crisis?
I think Americans are very comfortable with the presidents who defer to the wisdom of their military leaders. I think that's fine. I think Biden's problem is he's just not good off the cuff, right? He's mumbly. He meanders. Those on issues like this, crispness, accuracy, and command are the right way to be. It matters even more than perhaps the words, the images that you're sending. I understand he wants to treat this as a nonchalant thing. He doesn't want to make it, no pun intended, blow it up into a bigger deal and make the Chinese feel like they've gotten one over on us. And I understand all of that, but I think maybe save it for the podium.
You talked about the pomp and circumstance of State of the Union, and there is no sort of greater moment for a president. What does he have to do tomorrow to capitalize on that, not just for Democrats who want to hear the blue meat, or red meat, as it were, of partisan politics, but that in the end he is going to have to, if he wants to get anything done, work with a Republican Congress?
Well, no, he does not, as a matter of fact. And they know, everybody in that room knows, that nobody is going to get anything done. There's two issues that will dominate this year. That will be the debt ceiling, which is already upon us, and will be the continuation of government funding at the end of the fiscal year this fall. That's it. They're not going to innovate anything else. But here's what he has to do. So he has to give a message that will keep Elizabeth Warren at bay and let the Democrats who are going to be watching, and lots of Democrats will watch, say, I like Joe, he's okay, and not think about the hypothetical. So he's got to do that, but not freak out normal Americans who are going to be watching the coverage tomorrow morning. When they tune in to NewsNation the morning after, they say, okay, I didn't stand for the whole speech. Give me the highlights. He's got to have something that gives them assurance and calm.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.